Internet! Welcome to your very first episode of Couples Night. I am Kathleen.
And I'm Jeffrey Garcia.
So we're pretty much starting our own podcast as a couple.
Yeah.
3 years strong for us.
Pretty much. We met in college, got to know each other. Weird story of rejection and acceptance.
Very true.
And, we've been going strong, and we just decided, hey, why don't we make a podcast talking about things we like, and the thing we like tends to be video games.
It's true. I mean, I think that is definitely our strong point as a couple of just sitting in a car for 2 to 3 hours, just talking and talking.
She's passionate about Persona.
I am. But basically how we're going to start off for this episode is basically things that are upcoming. Either things, it's not going to be every single thing that's coming out. Just more things that I guess pique our interest, but that's a lot.
Yeah, we're doing points of interest, but most of it's because, as everyone knows that plays games, September is the month where they just drop this nuke on you where you don't even know where to go. Yeah, you just have so many options.
It's definitely going to be hard to choose between what's coming out within the rest of August. As of today, I was recording, it is August, 10th. It's August 10th. So as of right now, the first thing that we have that is coming out within at least the next couple of days is Walking Dead Season 4. I know you personally don't care about Walking Dead anymore.
It's not even just... It's not the fact that I don't care. It's the fact that after season 1 of the game, it felt like a lot of the problems I had with the games afterwards is that it felt like it focused on Lee as the main character and everything else around him. Lee was such an integral character to that series. But I won't speak about it if anyone hasn't played it. But I just feel like after season 1, a lot of the problems showed very heavily at what happens when you focus around one character.
Yeah, I mean, for me, did you play 1 and 2, or you just stopped at 1?
I played season 2, and I was not a big fan of that one. Okay. Because that's where, what I just stated, where a lot of the things, what happens when you focus on one character. Right. And when the character's not being playable anymore, or like they do something else, and you're playing from a different perspective, I felt like what they built around the other character didn't matter. Or it was connected to one integral character, but you see them enough, and they keep a lot of retain a lot of the things that they learned from the other character. Right. But all the side characters, all the NPCs, I guess, none of them really grabbed you. Right. None of them gave you a feeling, even progression story-wise,
Yeah, I mean, for somebody who's kind of been on this entire journey from day one, like I bought Walking Dead.
You still watch the show?
Yeah, I still watch the show. I bought Walking Dead Season 1 when it was only available on PC at the time, and I had it on my really shitty...
Toaster.
Yeah, my toaster. I had it on my shitty toaster, and I played every single one. My progression for the games is just, I do agree that I feel like they don't hold up as they go by. Season 3, it wasn't until like I finished it, because at first when I finished it I was like, man, I hate this game, because my biggest gripe with Season 3 is just that I don't understand what's the point of trying to side with everybody, because the only person I want to side with myself is Clementine. So I'm happy to see at least Season 4, it's kind of going back to that, and that is at least the one thing I do like about the games, is that at least when it comes to Clementine, it's somebody who we've seen from such like a young age, and we've grown up. I mean, when you think about it, like I started Walking Dead, what came out like 2010, 2011, like something like that.
Yeah, and you see the character get older. Yeah. See their adventure throughout the situation. You know what's funny? I didn't bring it up because you completely skipped the Michonne game.
We don't talk about that. That has nothing to do with anything.
That was dirty.
It's just, it doesn't, it's 4 episodes, it was $15, and it's, it looks nice on my trophies list for PlayStation.
That, my friend, sounds like regret.
It kind of was. It was, I didn't even think I paid $15. I think PlayStation had like a summer sale, and I bought it for like $5, like how most Walking Dead games.
Still sounds like regret.
It kind of is, but like I said, it looks nice on my trophy list. But yeah, so Walking Dead, Season 4, I'm picking it up day 1, just because gotta finish what I started, I guess.
Hey, that's what you in the show. I don't know how you're doing that. As the quality drops forever.
It's quality time with me and Mom. That's what I call it. But next up we have coming up to finish off the month of August is Shenmue 1 and 2, August 21st. I have never in my entirety have ever played Shenmue. My only purpose of getting it is just because when I my last part-time job, I had a customer who nonstop would talk about it, and I always say, in memory of him, I'm getting I'm getting Shenmue 1 and 2.
It'll be available on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get this game on the PC version.
Yeah.
My interest in this game comes solely for the fact that it was the predecessor of what became the Yakuza series for Sega. Mm-hmm. This game, when it first released back in whatever year, I don't.
Dreamcast, so that's got to be like 90.
It was probably the early or mid 90s. I don't want to say that I know, so I don't want to give a specific date. But a lot of the systems and ideas in Yakuza came from the series.
Right.
The biggest thing I got from this game when I researched it, it was kind of funny for me, realizing that it had such a massive budget.
Yeah, it broke records, that game.
Yeah, it went on Genius's world record that year for being the highest production game.
I think only like it's within this past generation of gaming, something passed. I don't know what it is, but something passed it, or it didn't.
I think the cost of games now comparative to before are just way higher.
Oh yes, just that.
So that probably was a. And inflation, we won't have those actual numbers.
Yeah, of course.
But a lot of the things about Shenmue interest me because there's such a very hardcore niche or audience around it. And I want to see what it's all about. It might be clunky, it might be old, but I want to see what the heart of the game is. Because I've always been one to just try something if I have any interest in it. But predominantly, I just like Japanese-made games. And I have nothing against Western games, but something about the eccentric nature of Japanese developed games just stick to me.
Yeah. I mean, for me personally, it's just more it's like how you've told me and how other people have always told me. It's a game that if without it, we wouldn't have things like Persona, and these games where basically daily occurrences happen throughout the game, where NPCs kind of have their own person in the game, which I don't think happens, honestly, not even too much nowadays, considering the technology that we have, which is very interesting for a game that Shenmue is definitely a game that's very ahead of its time, which is why I think the day they showed the fact that they were making a new Shenmue, or the fact that they're even remaking all these, is just like, oh my god, like I have to get this game and this and that, you know?
Yeah, because I remember when the Kickstarter first happened, and I believe it was in the Sony 2015.
Yeah, because I was still working at my last job at the time.
Yeah, for E3, and they killed Kickstarter for a while because they
oh, yeah.
The moment you try to log into the website, boom, just dead. I was like, well, that means they're making money, I guess.
Yeah.
But it was kickstarted very easily at 2.5. It surpassed the 2.5 million. But that was just to show how massive interest there was into the game, and they're slowly showing updates and whatnot. But when she was talking about those systems, a lot of the game, especially for its year and when it came out, it had a weather system. It had a system where you do some of the most mundane things, but they use polygons for a game, for the game, even though you didn't need to, for something just unneeded, as if you were going to a store, you'd pick up something from the shelf, and boom, they'd fully decorize and model like a box of cereal, I guess. And that's just a waste of polygons, especially for a game of that age.
But Dreamcast, no less.
Yeah, and they would just do all these little things that would give you this kind of feeling of finesse or polish that was unneeded and just there. And I think things like that are why Shenmue is regarded so heavily now. I haven't played the story, so I have no idea if that's another contributing factor. But I know it was always the little things. And the fact that there's like a time system and that you just have to manage everything like you're just a real person. You're like, oh, they work this schedule. I got to make sure to meet them or I'm screwed.
Right, yeah. Totally forgot, by the way, that's not the last thing that's coming out at the end of this month, because the next thing that's coming out is Yakuza 2. Yakuza Kiwami 2, August 28th. I know originally... PS4. Yeah, PS4. I know originally you were going to get it for PS4. Yes. You're not anymore. You're waiting for PC now.
Yeah, the only reason I'm waiting for it, there's no official confirmation at all, but because of the releases on Steam, and there was a quarterly earnings for Sega that stated that Yakuza 6 was PS4 and PC. So I think...
So why not put 2, right?
I just feel that as time goes on, they're going to bring the whole Yakuza library to Steam, and I think it's going to be a welcome addition to that, because as of these few years, because I had built my PC about last summer, and it was my first foray into PC gaming. And I had come at a time when Japanese games had started to kind of become bigger on Steam, because I had noticed that there are Japanese games there, but there's just not as many as if you were going to a PS4, because PS4 is just Japanese by nature. You got all your big boys on there. You got your Final Fantasies, you got your Personas, you got visual novels. If you live in Japan, like good luck. Good luck for them getting translating and brought here.
Go to Fua novels.
But I decided to hold off on Kiwami 2 on the hopes and veins that it will come out on PC, and I think I'll have a better experience with it as a whole, just from fidelity and frame rate, and just because I have a belief that if I have $60 to spend, I'll spend it on the hardware that I have in my capable, just that I have, and if it looks better and plays better with the $60 I spend, I'll just use it there.
Yeah, I can't say too much for at least Yakuza 2 for myself. I'm still playing, still playing 0, but I'm not too far. I'm maybe about like 2 hours, 3 hours into that game right now. So.
Oh yeah, because I played Yakuza 0 and Yakuza Kiwami.
Yeah.
0 to me was one of those surprise games, sleeper hits, because I had never played a Yakuza game before, and it was the prequel to the whole series from what I heard from many people. I had heard the offshoot from a friend of mine who just stated the games were fun, but I just never looked into it. But it was during a time frame where I was just kind of looking for something fun, and a lot of people online were also saying how fun the game was. Mm-hmm. So I said, you know what, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
And by the end of the game, I had fallen in love exactly with what they did with the story, the characters, and just everything about it.
Just the concept of it's kind of like another reason why Shenmue, I think, is another inspiration for
it. That's what I'm saying. Yakuza is a successor from a Sega standpoint.
Yeah.
But a lot of the things of Yakuza that I love is that it has a fine line.
Yeah.
It's like a silver lining where it will never go across each other, where it can be brutally serious and very tense and kind of terrifying.
Right.
But on the other side, when you're not doing, and those moments are during story.
Of course.
But when you get out of story, you're just doing all these goofy, idiotic side quests that, for some reason, do not destroy the game's tone. If anything, it fits it perfectly, and I don't know how they managed to balance that. But one, I got to give a lot of credit to the localization team. They do a great job localizing these games, and the writing that they use and their tone, spot on.
Mm-hmm. It's like I said, I'm not too far into the first one myself. Definitely where I am right now, it's had its serious moments, not too dramatic though. I've definitely seen more of the sillier sides than the dramatic sides, but I'm sure within any game that'll change the moment I sit my butt down and I play more of it.
and as much as I love Yakuza 0, I do know that the beginning is kind of a slog to get through, because they really want to tutorialize both sides of the coin. But once you get past the initial phase and get through Majima's 2 chapters and they introduce a key character, it just
changes everything.
It becomes a roller coaster, and you can't get off. You just want to know more. Yeah. It grabs you.
So that pretty much finishes up for the rest of August as of right now.
Yeah.
So we're kind of rolling into September at this point. Starting off September 4th is Dragon Quest XI. Yeah. I have never in my entirety of life ever played Dragon Quest. It includes any of the older ones, the ones they've kind of remade. Any of the ones they remade, the newer ones. 11 has definitely piqued my interest, and I think it's definitely the character designs that have kind of made me I want to try this game. I want to get to know these characters. Visually. I want to see. Yeah, it's definitely visually, which is so funny because it's design-wise for the characters aren't anything, they're not different from any of the other Dragon Quests. It keeps that very similar style. Yeah, it keeps the style, which is something cool that they do through all the games, especially if you're a big Dragon Ball fan and you like his art style.
His legacy knows no bounds at this point. Whether or not the anime to me growing up, you look back at it, a lot of the moments in animation didn't look as great as we thought because nostalgia, but if there's one thing I do love is that there's a picture in your head of how cool it was. And I think the only game that kind of captures that is Dragon Ball Z Fighters. But they managed to give you the feeling of what you assumed those scenes were in your head. Mm-hmm. But make it look better.
Yeah.
But continue, sorry.
No, you're alright. But no, it's seeing some of gameplay from it that they've had at these past couple events throughout the rest of 2018, it's definitely something where I don't know why I mean, I can't always say like this is like the same gameplay as all the previous Dragon Quest.
It'll be similar.
Yeah, but from what I've seen, at least for this new one, it definitely looks interesting. It is something I plan on picking up. It's definitely not something I'm picking up day one, though, because with everything that's coming out, I have to limitate myself for everything. But yeah, I know you're picking up. I think it's either one of us are going to pick it up, and then whoever finishes what, we're handing it off to each other.
See, I don't know how that's going to happen because I'm going to play it on the PC space.
Oh, you make me sad. I forgot you do that.
Well, look, I you know my preferred console became the PC.
So. I know. Mine is PS4.
Yeah. And she'll play if she's the opposite of me. It's true. $60 if she could play PC, PS4.
Yeah, PS4. The only time I'll ever really play PC, I'm not very Microsoft. I've never really cared too much for owning one of their consoles, so my only purpose of me owning a PC is just to have Microsoft games on it, because it was just like, well, why would I could spend like $300-$400 on a console, but I'd rather just spend like, I think I spent like $1,000 on my PC, and then I could buy like all those old Microsoft games for like dirt cheap.
And have a good computer.
Yeah, and have a good computer, especially like to do this and other stuff. Like we play 14 now, Final Fantasy 14 online. So
she wanted to really play that game, and I just told her, let's do it.
Yeah. You are definitely my push for things, where I'm very like, even if I want to try something, I'm very like hesitant on it, and I think that's just also a sad fact for this generation where a lot of things aren't trusted, but that's a story for another day.
Honestly, like, I can understand the view on something like that, but I guess the best way I can describe it is, if I play something and I recommend it, it's not because it's bad.
Oh, of course not.
It's because I really feel you would like it by the end.
Yeah.
Most Japanese games or RPGs, they always have slow starts.
Of course.
And
look at Persona 5.
Yeah, but it's funny because Yakuza 0 is an action brawler, right? But I really consider it like a JRPG. So it has a slow as hell opening.
Yeah.
And then once you get the meat of everything, because you had that one good moment in Chapter 2 with Kiryu, and I don't know if you have fun with that. Like,
I mean, like, if we're going back with Yakuza, I don't really think the gameplay is slow pace as most modern, or like most like turn-based RPGs, but I do, not that I have a problem with that. I think I prefer my RPGs to be turn-based anyway over action.
Yeah, because I get what you're saying, but you mean like you're comparing it to turn-based to just the action.
Yeah, or just like being in the RPG formula itself. It's definitely like a game that does throw you into things. Which in my opinion, for Yakuza is like a good or bad thing, because sometimes I'm just focused on doing one thing, and I could just be walking down the street and someone's like, hey, here's my problem going on right now. And I'm like, dude, like, I'm in the middle of something, and they're like, and you don't want to hit no because I'm going to forget later. So you're like, I might as well just do it now while I'm here. And like, some of the quests are funny, but it just feels like it takes me out of that experience of like, what I'm doing right now in the main game.
Yeah, but that game to me, I define it as it is a definition of ADD.
Yeah, it really is.
It says, look, I have a main story, but hey man, I know you want to do the side quest. I know you want to go play pool. I know you want to go do the mini pockets. Like, but I get what you're saying though, but you can decline it, and there's a list of the quests that you can look into.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Yakuza, that going back, it's something that I have to sit down and keep going.
But I just brought it up because I compared it to the JRPG beginnings.
Yes, of course.
But with Dragon Quest 11, the only reason I know I'm gonna get that day one is because I played Dragon Quest 8 on the 3DS, and I thoroughly enjoyed that game. It had these very little like humanistic character moments that I liked a lot. The overarching story is not as strong as some really good RPGs that I've played in my life. But I think as a whole, if there's anything I can count on those games, is they always keep true to what they are. Mm-hmm. And I think even the producer or director says the same thing. He's like, Dragon Quest is Dragon Quest. It's not going to change. We're not going to do... It's like the opposite of Final Fantasy, where Final Fantasy is always trying to change. It's always trying to be something different. And that's the good or a bad thing.
Kind of with the core of everything.
Yeah, and they want to keep Akida's designs. They want to keep the fantasy realm. They want to keep the turn-based RPG mechanics. I just love that they found a way to make Toriyama's art style work in kind of a hyper-realistic anime-esque look, because I've always felt Toriyama's art style is very hard to bring into the 3D realm, and I think the only 2 games that have done it well is Dragon Quest XI and Dragon Ball Z Fighters. But they both look great to me, but I just know the game's pretty good. For one, Japanese reception of it has been pretty good, and 2, playing Dragon Quest 8, a lot of the Japanese players said if 8 was your favorite, 11 is going to be your favorite now. And that says a lot, because Japanese gamers are so wordy. They will say it how it is. If the game is terrible, you're going to see 1-star bombs for days. If the game is good, they're going to vocalize it to everyone.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, so pretty much after that is one of the big boys we have coming up for September. Spider-Man coming out September 7th. This is something I would like to pick up day one, definitely, especially with the last E3 trailer that we saw at the convention.
Very, very good.
Yeah, it was very everything seems really fluid. Everything really seemed like it was on their toes. Like the characters that they're using. I mean, I always really appreciate when it comes to anything like Spider-Man, like especially with like Homecoming, with the movie that came out, that as somebody who's not like a hardcore Spider-Man fan, I obviously don't know every single villain, but like I'm glad they're not like rehashing like certain, like obviously like some of them are going to be like the popular villains that they'll use, but like it's always nice to see like something like different within the universe for it. So I'm happy about the characters. I like the design that they have for Spider-Man. I really like the controls. The scene for the prison looked awesome. I think me and you and our friend Sandy were like very excited to see all that.
My only fear of this game, because I had tried to dabble into the Batman Arkham games.
Oh yeah.
I played the first 2, and by the time I played the second one, I realized I did not enjoy my time with the games. And it makes me sad, because if there's one thing I realized growing up is I've always loved the designs of DC and Marvel heroes in any form, but for some reason I have zero interest in finding out about the characters' stories. Yeah. And when I try to dabble into it, for some reason or another, I just don't want to do it, or I just feel like this is not my. I don't think it's the characters per se. I think it's the storytelling.
See, I think the reason why you might like Spider-Man a little bit more than Batman is just because Batman's gameplay is, I mean, I'm sure Spider-Man's gameplay is also at points will be sneaky, but I feel like with Spider-Man's it's more action, and it's more like the different combos and everything you could do. Like I'm sure Batman had those types of things, but I feel like he's not that type of character where he could just like bounce off from wall to wall and do different like kicks and everything.
Before you continue, the combat system in Spider-Man is basically this similar in the sense that you saw how you would hit something, counter, and move somewhere else?
Yeah.
That was in the Batman games.
Oh, really?
So he could literally do all those things. The only thing I think that'll spice up the Spider-Man games is the fact that you have options for terrain use.
Right.
He can fling something at someone, or he can slap something on a wall to stick someone.
Right, the spider sense as like they were showing.
But that's why I say my biggest fear is that I won't like the system, because I did not like the Batman system. Right. And it was pretty much 1-to-1 the way the combat worked. Okay. That's why I don't think I'll have a problem with it, because I just innately have a like for Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's I think my kind of boat too. I'm not really too much of like a Marvel or DC, like when it comes to their video games. It's not something I'm like I need to get now. Like there's just something about the new Spider-Man game that's like I don't think you have to really be like a huge superhero fan, and you can kind of just pick it up and enjoy just the gameplay.
But I feel like games like that in general are designed that way from the beginning. Oh, yeah. But the great part is it'll probably have a lot of moments there for any fan of the series that's really dabbled into the Spider-Man universe. Yeah. Like a lot of those villains have actually been used in older games though.
They have.
Yeah, and they make returns, and I just feel like, one, as you spoke, the popular characters.
Yeah, like that's like, don't get me wrong, I'm sure obviously the game is at this time not out yet, and I haven't played it. Yeah. But I'm sure like there will be at points where they use those like characters we've seen in media and whatnot. But I think it's always nice. Like I said, I'm not a huge Spider-Man fan. I mean, I love Spider-Man, but I don't dabble in the comics. I just kind of see whatever movies that like come out. But like I'm always glad to see like it's a different villain than like what I'm used to seeing. You know? I know what you mean. Like if you ever watch like Negative. Yeah, or like like you ever watch like the cartoons they always have out, and they always have like Goblin and all those guys. Yeah, so it's always nice like seeing something like I'm like, oh, I didn't know you were I don't know if Spider-Man had this type of villain or this and that, but, you know, it's too many Spider-Man comics to try to get into to know everybody.
No, but I think the game looks great. If you're planning on buying that game, I think you have a great time with it, because if anything, Insomniac has just a great track record with anything they've ever done. And if there's one thing I know about them is they know how to make a fun game.
Yeah.
And the game's vibrant, colorful. I hope, because they have Yuri Lowenthal.
Yeah, Yuri Lowenthal plays Spider-Man.
Voicing Spider-Man. I think he's one of the perfect casting choice. Because if anyone's played Persona 4, we all know the character he got. And we know how much of a perfect fit that would be for a Peter Parker voice.
That sassy boy. But yeah, so if we want to move on from Spider-Man.
Sure.
Definitely something I'm going to wait till it's probably like $20. Next thing that's coming out is Shadow of the Tomb Raider. It's coming out September 12th. 100% not picking this up day one. Probably not picking it up till after holiday. The Tomb Raider, the definitive edition, my first PS4 game, after I saved up my part-time job.
Yeah, the
money.
Remaster.
Yeah.
Of the reboot of the Tomb.
Yeah, because it was originally a PS3 game, and then they got
yeah.
ported over to PS4. For some reason, Sony did that a lot.
Yeah, because they needed titles.
Oh, of course, and you might as well. I mean, if you're hearing good reviews, why not port it? I mean, it's the same thing for Last of Us that they did. But yeah, I thought the first one was good. I liked it. I wasn't like, you know, by the time it ended, I wasn't like, this is like the best PS4 game I've ever played so far. But for something that was like a game for my first new console, it was good. I liked it. The gameplay was a lot of fun. Got the Rise of the Tomb Raider, right?
Yeah,
that's the
correct.
Second one. Yeah, Rise of the Tomb Raider. Had it for about a year and a half until I actually unwrapped it, and played it. Man, I did not like that game. I don't know why they added a hub world. I really didn't see the point of the side missions, the hub world. Gameplay still, I think that's the high point for that game, is that gameplay was the same as the first one.
With tweaks.
Yeah, with tweaks. It was fun. The dual hooks for the ice picks, that was really cool. I like that. I like the combat you could do with the ice picks. That's about it. I really didn't care about the story. I really didn't care about the characters. I didn't care about that new guy they added, Jonathan, whatever his name was.
Jonah.
Yeah, Jonah. I didn't care about him in the slightest.
No, I can understand.
Yeah.
Because I feel that the reboot Tomb Raider games have the problem where, while it is a fun game to play, it's great to, especially doing the ruins, doing the puzzles.
Yeah, you like the secret ruins. You like that, where I was like, I want this game to be done with. If I find it on my way, sure, I'll do it. But if it was out of the way, I was like, forget it.
Nah, because I just enjoyed the general. Because if there's one thing I like, is I love cavern aesthetics in terms of designs. Like when an art team comes in and makes a level design in a cave, I'm all in. Like, especially if there's like skeletons everywhere and there's a story being told when you're looking through it. I love that stuff.
Yeah.
And the problem those games suffer from is for a very forgettable story that doesn't really give any resonance to a player, but it has a very good foundation for gameplay that uses it over and over.
Yeah.
Adds a few things new to it, because you don't break what's already working.
Yeah, that's so true.
This new one, I feel like it's going to be the same thing, where it'll have a great gameplay, great aesthetic, but I feel like the story might be as forgettable, but I don't want to take the chance of paying $60 for.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a game where I feel like I'm gonna wait on reviews. If it does really good, then maybe I'll pick it up sooner than what I said I would. But if they're like 7, 8, or 6s, I might just hold off for a good sale, you know.
Yeah.
I'm sure after holidays it'll definitely, or even during holidays, it might have like a $10 to $20 price cut.
No, because in October tends to have really big price cuts for shooters and stuff. Like what happened to Wolfenstein 2 and Evil Within 2.
Yeah,
those dropped to 30 so fast.
Yeah. Tomb Raider, definitely something I don't think either of us are
Put that on the wait.
Yeah, putting that on the hot wait list. I have enough backlog as it is. Next up, September 18th is Labyrinth of Reframe. That's made by the same people who made Disagaea, yes. Art style-wise, I like the Disagaea art style. So that's something that I definitely like about the game. Besides that, same thing, probably going to wait on that.
Because well, this is their. I actually have to look in their history, so I don't want to be very specifically saying, "Oh, I know this," but I think this is that team's first attempt at a dungeon crawler, and aesthetically, they have a great art team, and very good clean UI look to their games, but I think a lot of the problems they fall into is like one tropes of anime in general, and that's a good thing or a bad thing based on how you feel as a person. Two, the tone in their games try to be very silly, and they can never find a good serious spot. So if you're looking for lighthearted goodness, it's there. This game specifically, though, I don't know where it's gonna go, but a lot of the dungeon crawling designs, a lot of these monsters look pretty terrifying actually. But I hope it's good. I want to pick it up on the Switch because it just seems like a game that'd be perfect for that, because I can take it on the go, and we all know RPGs kill just a bunch of your time. And if you have it on the go, you could just play it during your downtime.
Might as well if it's going to be something. If it's something you're going to pour like so many hours into, I can see why having it on like a portable console, especially something like the Switch where you can have the portability, or just the fact that you want to like take it, or like just to have it home and have it on the TV. Like, I mean, that is one of the great things about that console itself. It's just, it has the best of both worlds, you know?
I might pick that up day one just for the fact that right now my Switch library, there's not a lot for me, because I'm looking for really good single-player RPGs. The last one I thought that I played on there was Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and I had a great time with that game just because I'm a big fan of the Xenoblade games at this point. I tried Octopath Traveler, and if there's any people that love that game out there, I don't mean this in any way, in a bad way. I was not a fan of it. I thought I would be, but based on the open nature of it and lack of, forcing your player to grind, I'm not a fan of that idea. Random encounters, I don't have problems with them, but I just think when they're attributed to forcing your player to not have a choice to either toggle that system or just making them consistent, or just too sparing, there's no good in the middle, you just kind of feel annoyed.
Yeah, grinding is, especially in RPGs, is something that it's either fun in an odd way, because for me, depending on certain games, I could literally grind for hours and hours. Like, I feel like Persona 5 does like a really great job of that, because you have payoff, you know? Whereas it's, I'm sure for Octopath Traveler for you, it's very like, you just have to grind to get better, but there's no like really great outcome from doing that. It's just like you're grinding to grind because you're getting your ass kicked in this area.
It's not even just that. It's that there's actual level requirement gates on characters.
Is it really?
That's what I told you. I was like, you have to level up, because if you want to continue Ulbricht's story, you have to be 27.
That's so unfair
on him, and everyone else whatever. But everyone's gates are locked from level 23 up to 27.
I feel like that's so lame.
So it's forcing you to grind these characters to get to those levels.
Right.
That's why I'm not a fan of that. I don't like that you're forcing me to do it.
Right.
Aesthetically, this game is beautiful.
If anything fits your style better, it's definitely that.
Yeah, I love the way it looks, and I thought I'd love this game, but from its open nature and these forced level gates with forcing you to grind, I'm not a fan of forcing the player to do something. But there, as she stated, grinding is a game-on-game basis. I've been playing Trails in the Sky series this past year after finding it last summer during the inception of my PC, and I just beat Trails in the Sky the third, and for the last section of the game, I was grinding for like 2-3 hours, but I had fun. I didn't have problems.
Until you died.
No. The problem I had is just that at the end of that game,
the boss is hard as dicks.
Not even just that. You have 20 characters to choose from to make parties, but you have to make separate parties, and they deal with certain things as you progress through the dungeon. Think of Final Fantasy VI, but not in an evil way, because you know how bad they did in Final Fantasy VI. Even though that game was great, that one section was not fun. But the problem I had is I had assumed that when everyone finished what they had to do, we would come together and I could recreate my party.
Right.
But I had found out by the end of it that all the parties you choose are locked forever, and the final boss with the parties that I had chosen were bad.
Yeah.
So that made me have to restart the whole dungeon. But I got angry for a little bit just because of it happening. But after I got through that, I just enjoyed the game in general. So I said, you know what? I have fun playing this game. It's not a big deal. Because if there's one thing I learned, if you don't have a problem replaying something, that means it's a good game. Or you're just not afraid of losing content like that.
Right. But yeah, Labyrinth of Refrain, September 18th. If you want something, I guess.
It's a great.
Crawling.
Yeah. If you enjoyed Disgaea, give it a shot. Because they're the same developers.
The only reason why I feel like I might like it is just because I like the art style for it.
Yeah, it's a Switch game too, so maybe you can get it on there.
Yeah. So coming up next, September 21st, Spyro Remastered. 100% getting that day one. No ifs, ands, or buts. I love Spyro. I love literally anything that was from almost everything from the original PlayStation. You get Spyro 1, 2, and 3. It's only, I believe, right now coming out for PS4 for day one. But considering it's made by the same people who made the Crash Bandicoot remake, it's most likely going to be a time exclusive.
And it'll come to the others.
Yeah, so you'll probably get it if you have just Xbox, or you're just PC, or you're just Switch. You're most likely you're gonna have it for that. But they did a really great job for Crash. I had my worries, just because if anything touches things that I love or care about, I always panic how it's gonna be when somebody else does it. But no, I really liked Crash, so I'm sure I'm really gonna like Spyro. I know you literally don't care.
No, I don't have. It's not like I have a negative stigma to it.
No, I know, but it's my my thing with just it is that me and you grew up different console, different games. This is definitely just more hitting the nostalgia than anything. Because I still have my PS3, but I rebought literally all 3 Crash games back on the PS3. I bought all 3 Spyro games back on the PS3. I had them for PlayStation 1, so it's just the fact seeing something new and current, it just, makes me happy to see it. Makes me happy about Spyro.
Yeah, and, for me, I don't have that nostalgic connection to those type of games, because when I grew up, I had a Super Nintendo, I had a GameCube, but I'm not a Nintendo fan. I want this to be just a thing to be understood. I don't believe in sticking to one console and end all be all. I'm not like that. If it's on that console and I want it and there's a bunch of games on there, I'll get that console. I have a PC, I have a Switch, and I have a PS4. I feel with that 3 combination this generation, you get the most out of what you're getting, and you have so many options. For that game, it's not a day one for me, because I have nothing against platformers, but right now in my state of life, they're not the things I prefer to go for on day one. There are things I'll think about getting maybe when I feel like I don't have anything else to play, but I don't have anything against them. Because, like I stated before, I'm a very RPG heavy guy.
Yeah.
So that's why Dragon Quest XI is a big thing for me. Because I don't... Best way I can describe it is I don't have a lot of... for the money I need to pay for a game, I want to make sure I get a lot out of the game. Because for me, $60 is not something easy to just throw out there.
Oh no, of course, which is also with everything coming out in September, it's interesting to see for what we're choosing of. This is something we're getting day one. This is something that we're getting on when we're waiting for a sale or waiting for reviews, or things like that is something that we're waiting for. But yes, Spyro, September 21st, definitely picking it up. If you ever want to try it once I'm done, you're more than welcome to.
That's funny.
But yeah, after that, here's something that's more for your taste than my taste. Valkyrie Chronicles 4 comes out September 25th. My only reason I would pre-order the game is it comes with stickers with a dog on it. And that's it.
Do you know how sad that makes me, everyone? That makes me extremely sad.
There's a picture of a dog. It's a corgi. I want it on my Joy-Cons, and that's the only reason why I want it.
You know what the benefit of doing that is?
What? I get to play.
You're going to get a good game.
Uh-huh.
And that's about it.
And that's it. No, I get corgi stickers.
Yeah, but that's obviously your main objective.
Of course.
All I'm saying as a side benefit is you're going to get a good game.
With corgi stickers.
Because I had played Valkyrie Chronicles 1 on PC. While the game isn't absolutely amazing, there is a certain charm to that game as you play it more, where the characters are very likable. The way it tells its story is very... It's like a book in chapters telling you things going on, and progression happens. The missions are very varied, while at times this is good, at times because you don't know what the mission's going to be, you can get screwed very easily. And if you've ever played Fire Emblem on normal mode without the Phoenix Edition, and I'm speaking to anyone in the newer generations or older Game Boy Advance titles, you know what happens when a unit dies permanently. You hit that reset button, you got to do the whole mission again. That is a very big thing that these games do, and it's just part of their nature if you choose to do it.
God bless for the quick reset for those.
Yeah, but not possible in these games, sadly.
No, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, if you get it physically, maybe there's a good chance I will. Well, you're probably gonna get it for PC, right?
No, I'm debating on getting it on Switch.
Okay, so
but I'm very iffy on it right now because that game, art style was absolutely beautiful. Mm-hmm. Right now, the Dragon Ball Z beta is going on for fighters, and I'm so surprised at how good that game looks on there. And I'm not saying anything to belittle the developers. I'm just very surprised what they were able to do with that hardware. But they also have a demo of Valkyrie Chronicles 4 on the eShop, and it's available now if you want to try out the game to see what it does or how it is. It's a very beautiful style. They do a very water painting. It's an engine that makes it look like there's a water painting going on all the time with the characters on the screen, the environment. It's just very beautiful to look at. Yeah. This one looks like it might be a little bit more better in the writing department, but that's just because I played the demo. I liked a lot of the way they spoke from character to character.
The voice acting seems very good for both the Japanese and the English, so if you also prefer one over the other, I don't think you really will have a loss either. Yeah. And that's just from listening from what you've shown me in trailers and from hearing you playing the demo.
Hey, if anything, I want you to try out the demo.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I've had Valkyrie Chronicles 1 on my PC that just haven't touched it. Easier said than done when it comes to me.
I know.
Just play it. Just do it. Yeah, but I could replay Kingdom Hearts 2 like for the 100th time in my life.
That will sit there and replay the same game 1,000 times and never get bored of it ever. I'm like a stubborn old person when it comes to games. I don't like anything new. I talk about back in the day too much. And she gets annoyed when I try to make her play another game that she feels like she wouldn't like.
Yeah.
And gets surprised that she likes it in the end.
That things happen when Jeffrey introduced me to things and involves me spending money on things that I like. And...
Oh yeah, she's also an anime figure collector.
Yeah.
So, and she has a bad habit of, if she likes something,
I'll just buy it.
She has to buy merchandise relative to it.
Jeffrey,
I had introduced her to the Fate series, and now her room has been taken over by this franchise. She just plays anything related to it. She wants to read the visual novel, but she had problems running it on her PC.
Yeah, I think honestly, like I've told you, for the figures, at least for Fate, I've bought almost all of them from at least the Unlimited Blade Works series within 2 months. 2 months.
You were very lucky that at the time they re-released certain ones.
Yeah, I was really happy about that.
You were so lucky that happened.
Because so many of them have increased in price over the years just because of like how much of a great show it is. But yeah, my habits are really bad. If I really like something, I'll just buy and splurge stuff on it, which is another reason why I don't like trying a lot of new things, because 9 times out of 10 I know I'm gonna like it, and that's where the problem starts.
The thing is, though, with Fate, did you feel that way? I don't think you felt that way. Unless honestly you looked at it and you're like, I don't know why you want me to watch this.
Fate, well, you told me to watch Fate before we started dating, and I was like, whatever, I don't know this guy.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Like,
and then we started dating, and you were talking about it, and I went through like an anime kick where I was just like, I want to watch anime, and I had Netflix on my computer, so I just put it on, and luckily the dub was on it, because like I think I was playing a game while I was watching it, and then something interesting happened where I literally put the controller down and my full attention went to Fate, and then it just became me binge watching Fate. I think I finished it in like 3 days or something like that. It was really good.
But the thing is,
I love it actually.
Your initial reception to it was meh. But this is what I say when I want you to try something new, because you see how you went from meh to that
to this room. Jeffrey pointed to just a giant poster in my room of Fate.
but this is why I want you to try things that go from meh to maybe that. Whether you choose to buy it, I honestly, it doesn't matter in my opinion, because if you love it enough that you're willing to buy for it, you're gonna do it no matter what.
Of course. I mean, look with Nier Automata with all the figures they just announced coming out.
Yeah, but wouldn't you rather love it knowing, and then later on, if there's things you wanted, but maybe it was too late, you're just kind of like, why didn't I like this before?
It's a life I'll live with.
No, I understand that. But look what happened in Nier Automata.
Yeah.
That was a game where you're like, it can't be that great. Then you played it, and you got through all the routes, and you were like, I see why he likes this game so much. It's different.
And Ninus is he's a beautiful boy.
But we won't speak about the story of that game. But if you've ever had an interest in Nier Automata, and you like Japanese games, you're going to enjoy this one. Yes. It's a very different take from a very unique director named Yoko Taro.
I love that man.
And his games consist of very different ways of kind of telling a story. He doesn't try to make it an ultimate ending or end boss. It's just very philosophical, very down to what makes people people, and it leaves something in you. There's a charm in his games, and the composers he has that works with him, I believe they've been friends for a long time, since college. And Okabe, I believe is his name, Keiichi Okabe, and his studio, they just make beautiful soundtracks, and they just bring out the best of Yoko Taro's direction.
Yeah, Nier Automata is definitely like, if you don't like the first route, like, don't give up on the game, because that was me. I literally thought the first route was okay, and then Route B happened, and then that's when everything was like messing with my mind, and then C happened, and then it all goes downhill from there, or uphill, I guess.
Yeah, because
in my preference, it went uphill, and the story and everything going around to the characters, it went downhill for them. But yeah, no. To get back on track, yeah, Valkyrie's Chronicles for September 25th. Try the demo. It's out. It's free. Why not? It's probably gonna be out for pretty much everything.
Yeah, at this point.
Next coming up for the last thing that I have, it is coming out for September 27th, Life is Strange 2. Something else I am picking up 100% day one. Love Life is Strange 1. Can't say the same for Before the Storm. There you go, Before the Storm. Not my favorite.
There's only two of them. There's no way you can either have you can't really choose.
That's not true. The Captain Spirit was out.
No, that doesn't count.
It was a 2-hour demo game.
I'm not saying it in a bad way. The game doesn't count as a whole. What I'm trying to say is, because Before the Storm and Life is Strange are so literally prequel and the game, then Captain Spirit's connected to Life is Strange 2, which I think is going to probably be a good one.
Yeah.
But I had played Life is Strange after she had mentioned it to me, and I was waiting for a big sale to get that game, and I had decided, you know what, I'll play through this. And the big kicker for me to get into that game is because I really like the music.
Yeah, and the soundtrack, I think, I've told you, I think I at least listen to one song from that soundtrack, like, every day. Yeah. Just because the music is beautiful. And
I said, you know what, I like the music, and good music to me in a lot of games tend to mean that it has good direction. Just in general, there's a few games out there that are very opposite, but to me one of those is Nier, but the original Nier, Xbox 360 here with the PS3 edition over.
No, we had PS3 here.
Oh yeah, but I mean it.
It's just,
okay, let me clarify.
Regular Nier.
What I meant is, like, because in Japan there was two versions, Replicant and Gestalt, and each version was based off of being a brother or a father, but they chose to bring the father figure here to the U.S. as the way to tell the story.
So it didn't matter if you got it for PS4 or 360 here. Yeah, you're just Daddy Nier, and that's it.
That's it. But the game as a whole is not a fun game to play, but it has a great story.
Me with Dragon Guard 3.
Dragon Guard 3, I'll be real.
Dragon Guard 3.
From a technical standpoint, it's a mess.
It is a hot mess.
It looks bad, and
it plays bad.
Because the frame rate tanks everywhere, and it stutters.
The character designs are nice, music's great. But yeah.
Good voice acting, because they have Square Enix's vocal team and localization team. Mm-hmm. But going back to what I was just saying.
What was I just saying? Yeah, you were talking about the music in Nier.
No, the music. I was talking about the music in Life is Strange.
Yes, and you were comparing it how great it was.
Yeah, no. I bring it up as a whole. Like, if there's good music in a game, it tends for me to believe it's a good game.
Right.
As the exception was Nier, where it might not be a fun game to play.
Right.
But I liked everything else about it. Yeah. But the music was a big thing. But I played through Life is Strange, and I if anyone wants to play that game and they're not used to,
like, the Walking Dead Telltale format,
not even that, not used to pretty bad writing.
Listen.
Look, you can love the game, and that's fine. But I'm being honest. If anyone can get through episode 1, because the writing in episode 1 is a little atrocious.
Just a little bit.
And it can get really ham-fisted. But if you can get past episode 1, as things go on, it gets better and better. A lot of the concepts of that world just get better. But as an overall game, I think it was a good narrative that they were able to tell. I hope in Life is Strange 2 they make it a little bit darker or a little bit more connected to the
original,
to the power.
Right.
Because it was a very simple power as to what it did, but I think in Life is Strange 2, I want it to feel like it has a consequence without being able to take away a consequence.
From what they've showed about, like a couple of days ago, from, like I said, from today, this recording, they showed a trailer for Life is Strange 2.
Yeah.
Where it's just like a guy, like it's a police camera who's walking off camera to then be talking to somebody, and it sounds like he's calming them down, to then being like thrown across the screen and calling for backup and this and that. So I'm interested to see how it turns out. I mean, I have my own theories about like how this game is going to start just from playing the little like demo game, of where it's like a prequel, or like the prequel for how like the second one's going to set up. So like I have my theories about how they're going to do it. But yeah, no, it's, you know, it's Life is Strange, and I love it, and you know, I hope they like bring back a lot of people who did the music for the first one. I would love to see some sort of connection to the first one. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. It doesn't have to be a thing, but you know, I'm sure like they'll find their own little ways to like. Actually, did you know they just made a comic, right? They just made a Life is Strange comic also, right?
I don't know.
I think so.
I don't follow it that way.
It's coming out, I think it is. It's a Life is Strange comic that's coming out, and I believe it's supposed to be a hypothetical if, like, what happens at the end of the first one, like, if you choose to save someone over something else. So, you know, I'll probably pick it up.
The trailer she mentioned reminds me of a movie called Chronicle.
Mm.
And
with the 3 kids and they have the superpowers.
And the camera format.
Yeah. And it's very handheld.
Yeah, just if you've seen that movie and you liked the concept of it, I think maybe Life is Strange 2's premise is going to be very similar to that. Whether it'll be better than the concept in the movie, we have yet to see. But I still have to finish Captain Spirit because I was playing Trails in the Sky, and as my girlfriend knows, the series has taken me over. I love those games. They're some of the best RPGs I've played personally because they do such a great job at building a great world with these very great political ideas on like 3 different continents. The characters are just so loving, and the great part about it is most RPGs love to tell you one story and then throw it out the window. Then they start over with the same brand name like Final Fantasy. It's rare to get sequels that connect to each other. And Trails in the Sky, or the Legend of Hero series in the modern age from 2003 onward, are sequels on sequels on sequels. There's a Trails in the Skies trilogy. Then there's a middle section that happens in the same world right after the events of the Sky. And those 2 games have yet to be localized, and I'm waiting for them feverishly. And then there's the Trails of Cold Steel, or Trials of Cold Steel. I believe it's Trails of Cold Steel. And they have 4. 2 of them are localized. 2 of them are in Japan. Also waiting for those. But if you're looking for a long haul, you're gonna get like so many games that just connect to each other. You won't know what to do. But yeah, those took over my life.
But yeah, that's pretty much it for what's coming out within these next couple of weeks. God bless everybody's wallets, including mine, for what you are picking up, what you aren't picking up. Let us know what you're gonna pick up. I mean, we pretty much told you what we're gonna be getting. But that's pretty much wrapping up our first episode for Couples Night. We're at least gonna try to have an episode out every week, probably Saturdays. Time wise, no idea. Yeah. But yeah, so this is your host, Kathleen.
And this is Jeffrey Garcia.
And we are signing off. See you next week.